What's good, everybody? Yo, before I even start, I see y'all in the chat early. Listen, man, we come in peace. That's the first thing I want to say to everyone. But what's good with everyone? Welcome to the Bliss Pickup. It's your boy Tony H, aka Seven Toe Tone. Y'all already know it's on. Um, Yo, they in. Okay, I see. They ready for the drama today. So we not. I'm listen. It's not gonna be one of those type of shows. We are gonna talk about the collective, but which one we talking about? Yeah, wait. Tune in to find out. Ramsey replacement. We're gonna talk about how should Mike McDaniel uh approach Tua. I think I got an interesting approach I think he should take. Plus, we got a lot more. But I already know y'all ready for my boy Lou to come up here. So I'm gonna bring my co-host up here because I already see y'all getting up real quick. Lou, what's good, man?
Oh,
Hey,
oh,
Lou,
Tone.
I had to tell my dude if it ain't important, don't come in the room today. This might not be a show for you to make an appearance on.
Listen, I will always say shout out to baby girl, right? But tonight is not the night.
Yo, y'all thought she was making a cameo tonight. I don't think she's making it. Well, she might just pop in here anyway. She might not make a cameo tonight. But Lou, listen, man, what's going on? Listen, a lot of interesting things what's happening today. You know how I do when we get some hot topics or we get anything other than what we initially wanted to talk about. I give you an opportunity to get it off the chest early. So, do you want to? You got a couple of things you want to talk about before we get into the show, or how you feeling right now?
Tone, I feel good, man. What happened, Tone?
Go. Yo, shout out to the chat. Already 22 of y'all in here. Man, shout out to all y'all. I see Mike Best in here. Pablo Diaz in here. Marino Go. Shout out to you. Special shout out to Marino Gale. Everybody got that super box. Come Marino go put everyone else. Michael K, I see you in here. Cap for life. I saw you yesterday. I ain't gonna say where I saw you at, but I saw you wilding out. You hear me? Oh, shout out to Marvin. Hey, I'm a fan of you now. The way you press EM, I appreciated that. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Marvin, man.
Shout out to
Shout
you,
out to
Marvin.
Marvin.
Powerhouse TD, shout out to you. Mark, I see y'all. Yeah, y'all in the building. Oh, there you go. There you go. El Capitan. Can the collective be trusted? Will we be Look.
Hey,
We
man,
will be
listen.
discussing it. Probably started for you know what? Go ahead, Lou. Say that. Y'all listen. Y'all know
Well,
how
I'm
I
just
feel about
saying,
the collective.
shout out to my guy Cap, right? I think all of us will be tuning in a little bit later. That's why, usually, if you guys know anything about us in the Bliss Pickup, we say 7:30 ish. We wanted to start this thing kind of early today,
Lou put in double
because,
duty today, Lou.
well, listen, I don't, Tone, are you? Well, a better question, Tone. I'm pulling double duty tonight. Are you pulling double duty tonight?
Man, unfortunately, man, you know, am I my brother's keeper?
Absolutely, Tone.
You already know. You know how it
Absolutely.
is when his family is different with me. I know how I get, man. When his family is different. So yes, I would be there. That thumbnail crazy work. Who girl is it TD or Omar? Appreciate you. Hey, listen, man. I voted for Biden. Look at Game Boy 305. Shout out to you. You know what? He might have got over that little Tyler Hero thing already because he been here early now. He don't wait till we all busy. He come here early. But yo, what's good though? Go ahead, little man. Get it off the chest. You
My fault, Tone. I had walked away
for the
for a
space.
second. No, so a lot of the things I'm going to say or want to say, it will be later on tonight
Mm-hmm.
uh, at TFTG. What I will say though is there's a lot of things that have been brought to the light um, between YouTube content creators and beat reporters, right? And I know it's going to be a hot topic. I just think for me, Tone, we always say it, right? It's like two things can be true. I think both parties could be wrong in a certain scenario,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, I said this today earlier, Tone, and there's some other things I want to say, but I haven't said, and that will be for later. The one thing I will say though is from and again we'll drop names here. Reason had some harsh words for Omar Kelly, Alan Poupars, the Chris Perkins of the world, right? And the question I posed earlier is, if Omar Kelly was still going on Finside the NFL, that's Reason's platform, would Reason feel the same way that he does now about Omar Kelly? There's a lot of things that are being brought up to the light, and Alex is not one of them. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I mean, that's crazy.
Go, my bad,
Not even in the light. We can't even see Alex in the light.
This is wild. Pete in the building.
Shout out to Pete.
Pete say we want smoke talk and knowledge. Well, and acknowledge the fact that we finna get y'all this smoke. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I was saying, like, I just think there might be some hard feelings coming from Reason, right? There's some. It just seems like, from an optic standpoint, that things are shaking or moving in the community, and he might not like that. And now is when these comments come out. And that's why I posed the question, do you think if Omar of the world, or let's say Alan Poupar of the world, was still going on his show, would he have them same feelings, right? That's my thoughts from the Reason perspective, where I say I think he handled that wrong. He was wrong in that aspect. Now, from the Omar Kelly standpoint, this is where I'll say Omar was wrong in some of the things and the way he's been responding. Like, don't talk bad about the same YouTuber that you was willing to go on his show, right? Like, there was a time where, I don't know if everybody remembers, but Omar Kelly was doing I Am Athlete, and whatever happened, either he was fired or let go, or he left, whatever the case may be, he just wasn't really doing anything. And he reached out to Reason to get on that platform. So in that scenario, it's like, I just think there's bad blood in the water. And for the simple fact of Reason talking bad about Omar, where you weren't talking bad about him when he was helping you on your platform. And from Omar's standpoint, you talking bad about YouTube content creators, this, that, and the third, but you, before you had your own, you was using those same people you talking about now. So I just think it's a dirty situation on both sides. And there'll be some other things that I think a lot of things, Tone, will be addressed in the later show. I just think it's a bad look, not only for the community, but two guys that kind of represent the community, right? Like, whether you like Reason, hate Reason, whatever, he does have a voice in the community. And obviously Omar Kelly, being a beat reporter for the team, he also has a say. And for these kind of things to be going back and forth, and it's just a bad look all around. But I think both of them in general could have handled the situation a little bit better. And that's me being PC, trying to be as PC as I can over here. I know later on tonight is when we'll kind of air out some dirty laundry.
Yeah. He's Mr. Michael K say, Lewis, you need to use the word allegedly. Don't know who reached out to who. I would like to point it out, man. 41 of y'all in the building, and only 21 likes. Y'all get the likes up, man. And I want to point out this poll. There's a poll already. There's already 27 votes, and it's 7 minutes in. They say, what brought y'all here tonight? Y'all want football takes? Y'all want the smoke and BS? 74% say the smoke and BS. Y'all messy.
Well, I can bring up some more mess, but real quick, Tone. See, I get a bad rap, Tone, in the community. Lewis is a fire starter. I got greenlit today, Tone. You seen me get greenlit today, right?
Allegedly,
I got greenlit. Now, Tone, what I like and what I respect about our chat, right, is that when people match me with the energy, right? That's what I like. Tony, Let me bring up this comment, and you tell me if you recognize this person.
Hello, everyone. Wow.
The boogeyman. You see, Tone? You see, Tone? When that person showed up the other day as Jess, I said, I don't know who Jess is.
Talk about it.
Now, this is the energy I like. The boogeyman.
The boogeyman.
You see what I'm saying? And Tone, this is why we got the best chat in the world. The
That's
boogeyman
a
is here. Shout
fact.
out to the boogeyman. See what I'm saying? I love that energy. Shout out to the boogeyman.
That's a fact. Listen, like I say, I was working all day. I literally came to my phone. There was all kind of messages and notifications, and yeah, I did go into one of the chats we are in, and there were a couple of greenlets going on, and I found it funny. I'm glad you put the video up. Everyone are welcome to the tailgate. I've never turned anyone around. I never turned anyone uh, down that asked to come to the tailgate. Everyone is welcome. Just I would say this: just come with the right attitude. That's the only thing that I would like to say. If y'all don't know what video I'm alluding to, Lou posted it up on his X, so y'all go follow Lou on X. That come get someone. And yeah, y'all go see what video we talking about. Dre said small small little chat for small little channel. These are facts.
Michael
Yes,
K,
yes,
even
Michael
Bill
K.
fans. Yeah,
Michael K. Yes,
absolutely.
even Bill. I done had Bill fans there. I done had Jets fans there. I had Cincinnati fans there. We had the Carolina Panthers fan there. I bought a 49er fan to a game. Oakland fan. Like yes, there any fan they're ready. But
Hey,
what I
shout out
will
to
say,
Michael K, man. Shout
but
out
I
to
will
Michael
say,
K.
listen, it's 52 of y'all in the building. Please go hit the like button while y'all in here. So what I will say, let's expect something because we want to talk about the collective and everything. But I will say about the issue, I guess everyone is up in arms about the media or whoever it is, the content creators versus the sports media crew or whatever. From my standpoint, I don't know why there should be a separation and why there should be picking sides. I really don't care about picking sides. But what I would say is, and I'm not gonna mention names out of respect for certain individuals, but when you start bringing up people that haven't said anything, I really have an issue with that. And also, as y'all know, Lewis family now. You get what I'm saying? And people that I have respect for, that earn my respect, that I treat them as family, there is no dealing with Lou without dealing with me. I know a lot of people were saying he's been tolerated. A lot of people are saying that I've been DM'd to say, yo, sometimes you gotta just stay out of the things and let Lewis let Lewis handle his own business. First of all, I wouldn't be dealing with Lewis if he can't handle his own business. I would never deal with anyone. However, when Lewis is in the presence of me, and this is two people that want to, hang out or do whatever they want to do, that's family. Now, where I grew up for family is like the Three Musketeers, all for one for all. That's how that goes. That's why when he asked me if I'm putting up, yes, I mean you family now, so I'm my brother's keeper. So I don't tolerate them. That's my family, and that's the only thing I'm gonna say on from that part. Right now, as far as what they got going on, listen, man, I think, and we just gonna call a spade a spade. I think he was wrong. Reason I'm talking about for attacking him personally. When it was about the football takes, I think it was all fair game. But when you start attacking people personally, then I think you take it a little bit too far. And that's just how I feel about it, right? Especially when they didn't ask for that. No one came to you ask you for your opinion. No one addressed you. No one did nothing like that. So what was the need to try to call someone out? I was trying to figure that out. That's why I was asking questions earlier because what I like to do is I like to keep the same energy. If we're over here just minding our own business, not talking about no one, and then someone come to our channel, take our videos and go to attacking our takes and saying we don't know this and we're no good. Me personally, I don't know about Lou, but I'm quite sure we both gonna take it personal and be like, yo, I wasn't even talking about you. But if you at least gonna attack my takes, right? Do it to my face. Let's set up a show then if you want to do it that way, right? Because respectfully, they worked with each other before. So if you really had an issue or you really felt like that takes were that terrible, then you could have set up a show and said it with them. Lewis actually isn't being tolerated. Mans ain't welcome at the Rock or Publix. He can't even come on camera. He's trying to protect his identity because of that green light. Talk to
Now,
him, Lou.
now, Tone.
Yo.
See what's crazy is, again, I know people got mad the other day when I started flexing on them with the house renovations I was doing.
On the tour? It was crib,
Um,
MTV cribs.
yeah, when I was on my MTV crib shit. The fact of the matter is, the office I use for doing this show, it's under it. You know, it's still we're still doing work, but I'm here. I'm live. Let me get a little bit closer. I ain't trying to
Talk to
hide
him.
no. I ain't trying to hide no identity. It is what it is. I've never been greenlit. Well, actually, I'm lying. I've been greenlit. The problem is no one's ever actually fulfilled that green light. That if this what we. I mean, I know Dre's trolling, right? Shout out
Yeah.
to my guy
Yeah,
Dre.
shout out Dre. Oh,
I've
Dre
been
pulled
down
up
with
multiple
Dre.
times. He the one bought the Carolina fan, matter of fact.
I've been down
He
with Dre
bought
since
him.
day one, right? That's been my guy. So I know he's trolling, but I seen another person, D-Jess or whatever, asking why I've never shown my face. I show my face all the time. It ain't nothing new. Ain't nobody scary over here. What I talk is what I do. Like if you don't like it, cool. If you do, cool. But never, it's never gonna be no hiding on my end, dog. I'm just saying, never no hiding. But go ahead, Tone, do your thing.
Yeah, so no, I just wanted to give my little piece to that. I wanted to at least get a little something of what they want. But we know for a fact, and shout out to the boys at TFTG. They are the ones that's going to break everything down. So right after this stream, they will be live at 8:35. So y'all make sure y'all head over there at after we finish this live. But I just wanted to give my 2 cents. I know Lou probably going to adjust a little bit later when we switch over, and then I probably could elaborate a little bit more. But for now, Lou, let's talk about the show. Let's get into the topics of the show, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is the collective, because I every time I bring up a topic, I've been thinking of something. Do you think, and then from your opinion, that the collective, can they be trusted at all? And when I say trusted, I mean to get the ship in the right direction and consistently continue. Stay consistent on the same trail. You know how they did the switch and back and forth. First it was built through the draft, and then it was F those picks. Do you think they could be trusted to keep to I say have a vision and stick to the vision, like stick to the plan? Do you think they could be trusted in doing that?
You talking about from the collective standpoint?
Yeah, from the collective. The reason why I said that. Yes.
Absolutely. Listen, at the end of the day, I think, Tone, we've had these conversations before. I know a lot of people, they get in their feelings and stuff. And again, that's fine. I try not to tell people how to feel. I just don't work with feelings. I work with facts. The facts are the team hasn't got over the hump. But again, it's what your definition of what the collective is supposed to do. When we talk about the collective, we kind of talk about, and I guess rest in peace, Jim Irsay. That's crazy if the coach owner really passed away.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. So we got it up. Rest in peace.
And I'll be in Indianapolis. Well, we gonna be in Indianapolis opening week, man.
Yeah. That's crazy. So again, rest in peace. That's some crazy news.
Man, for real.
Yeah. But far as the collective, when I hear collective, Tone, I know we joke around a lot, and I do believe it is a collective. I think there's too many hands in the cookie jar. But for this specific question, the way I'm going to answer it from you is the collective is Chris Greer, right? He's the guy that's going to get the most blame of bringing players in and out of the building. And when I look up and down the roster, again, playing the end results, Tone, we have not got over the hump, right? If you want to blame Chris Greer for that, cool. That's y'all. I will not be that guy. Chris Greer, for me, his job is to bring in talent. When I look at it, Jalen Ramsey was talented. Calais Campbell was talented. Bradley Chubb was talented. Jalen Waddle's talented. Christian Wilkins, his pick was talented. Xavier Howard was talented. Tyreek Hill's talented. There's a lot of talented people on this roster. It's time for the fan base to start realizing that talent is the one that's folding in the crucial situations. Because until I see Chris Greer throw an interception, drop a pass, fumble the ball, It is what it is. I blame the people that haven't got over the hump, right? And in my opinion, Chris Greer has done a good job of making this a talented roster. See, I would argue with people, Tone. Do you think that other teams across the league, right, wouldn't want to have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle as their wide receivers?
Yeah, for the most part. I think the only one you could say Philly and Cincinnati would be like, yo, we good with our talent.
Okay, cool. So there's
Yep.
two teams that so 30
maybe
other ones.
Minnesota, but I think any of them would swatch out Jordan Addison for Waddle any day of the week.
Okay, absolutely. How many teams do you think would love to have a backfield with Devon A-Chain, Jalen Wright, and Ollie Gordon?
Quite a few too. I ain't gonna lie, quite a
Right.
few. Now that's some with some good dynamic duos.
When,
You got Falcons, Detroit.
when teams looked and when you had Xavier Howard lined up across Jalen Ramsey, you think that was a good group?
Yeah.
How about when you had Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Zach Seiler, Christian Wilkins on that D line, Emmanuel Ogba, and the cast of characters we had? You think people would like that unit?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? There's talent all around, but then we want to blame the collective because according to y'all, there's no talent. You see what I'm saying? Like, nah, bro. So again, Tone, to answer your question, I know I've went a long time, but the fact of the matter is, no. The collective, aka Chris Greer, he's done his job. He's held, in my opinion, he's held up his end of the bargain. It's the players, and if you want to argue, coaches that have not.
You know what, Lou? I see. That's why I didn't want to. Alex, hold on, wait. Alex is an urban legend around these parts.
Yo, they be killing Alex.
Gave her 3 or 5 shout out. What I would say, Lou, and I'm glad you said that's why I didn't want to prepare you for that question. You almost said what I was thinking, but yes, I think they can be trusted because what I found out this year, and let's see how Chris Greer is moving. He came out, took accountability. He came out and said, I deferred a lot more than I initially wanted to or that I would have liked it to. And he's going to change that. And he's going to start taking matters in his own hand. Then if I sit back and I say, well, you mean to tell me the only thing you had to do this whole time when we were saying, oh, Brendan Shure, and we were saying Tom Garfinkel, and why they in there having these football conversations with, why non-football conversation people are in there having football conversations with people like Chris Greer and Marvin Allen. Like, why are they in there? You mean to tell me this whole time the only thing you had to do was put your foot down and say, no, you hired me to do a job. Let me do the job. Oh, that's cool. You know, you can say what you want to say. I heard you. But we moving forward this way because my job and my face is on the line. You mean to tell me that's all he had to do while we were saying, oh, Stephen Ross said he had to work along. He did say that. He had to work alongside Tom Garfinkel. He did say that. But I'm trying to figure out why all of a sudden this year he's like, no, I deferred a little bit more than I wanted to. That means even when he said you had to work with Tom Garfinkel, you could have said it then. You could have been like, with all due respect, Mr. Ross, you hired me to do a job. Let me do my job. Because his job title does not consist of GM. And that's mainly my job. That's mainly my focus. So the final say-so should come from your GM. Because when everyone goes out, the beat writers, when the people on the sports anchor, when the fan base, everyone is going to come out my neck and call for my job. And if you fire me for so many foolish moves or maneuvers that these people have been doing, you're going to be justified for it because the title under my name says GM. So you mean to tell me he could have been said this the whole time? Because you remember I was like, yo, no one is going to want to work with having to deal with non-football guys making a decision. I'm not going to lie. That might be good for him, but it also could be a nail in his in his casket because other GMs, right, that have that cachet, right? They see that and say, "Oh, so you can go put your foot down. So you mean I come in here with all my experience and me knowing what I know, and I just go, hey yo, y'all kick back, I got this. So you mean that's possible? it might make this a little bit more attractive destination for other GMs if Chris Greer don't get the job done. Now, however, with all that being said, Chris Greer, he's starting off on the right foot to me. You know what I'm saying? He's starting off on the right foot for me, but I don't know how long of a leash I could give you because I can't just erase the whole time you've been here. You know, so but kudos to Christopher Greer for standing up and saying, "Yo, this is what how I'm gonna handle this going forward." Go ahead.
Let me throw this at you, Tom, because
Yeah.
you're right in what you said. I'm not saying I disagree, but let's say, remember, and again, shout out to Shake Money. I see Shake Money down there in the chat. Tony, you say it
Shake
all the time.
money.
Where we kind of learned of this information of Stephen Ross saying that Chris Greer would have to work alongside or answer to Tom Garfinkel. We always give Shake Money and the boys at TFTG credit for that, right? All right, cool. Now you just said it could, be a detriment that he just stepped up this season and said, I've deferred too much.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now remember when that statement was made though by the owner saying he had to answer to Tom Garfinkel. What was that, 3 years ago?
Yes.
That was when Mike McDaniel was hired, correct?
When he was hired, yes.
All right, cool. It's easier for me now. Your boss tells you have to answer to somebody. At the end of the day, people in this chat want to blame Chris Greer and say he didn't step up. Well, at the end of the day, what I'm going to present is Chris Greer is listening to the guy that signs his checks. Like, if your boss tells you something, that's what you have to do.
That's a fact.
All right, cool. So now Chris Greer can turn around and say, oh, hey, Stephen Ross, you know how at the end of the year you see if your team don't win the playoffs or something like that, they have the exit interview.
Have you meet your yearly goals? Yeah.
Your yearly goals.
Yes.
When those conversations happened this season and they got to Chris Greer, hey, what happened? Chris Greer, what did I always tell you, Tone? Let me show you what I could tell you. Let me get on camera for this. You know what Chris Greer was doing at that table?
Taking notes.
Oh, let me show you. Hey, Stephen Ross, on this date right here, I wanted to do this. I wanted to trade Calais Campbell. The head coach said no. Hey, Stephen Ross, remember when I wanted to do this and hey, such and such said no.
Yeah.
Right? Here you go, Stephen Ross. Look at all these times I wanted to do something, but again, the collective, the people you told me I had to work with, they wanted to do something else. So now this year, what I'm going to do is say, forget all that. I want to do things my way now. Could that also be a scenario? Because I know everybody just says, well, what's he doing it now for? Well, maybe he waited and seen that, again, let it fail. So now I can present the failures to the owner and say, we tried it your way. Let me get back and try it my way now.
Yeah, and you know what? And I have no problem. That's a great point that you brought up. And I have no problem with him handling it that way. Because some people be like, well, you know what? That's what you want to do. I'll show you why that's not the right thing to do. All kudos to him. What I'm saying is, the standpoint that I'm coming from is, well, you took that approach, but you could have also took the approach the way I said it was, put your foot down, like, respectfully, I don't need to work with them because I know what I'm doing. You get what I'm saying? Now, by him taking this approach, that was a great, how you said it, that's a strategic move, right? Cool. What I'm saying is, me as a fan, right? Me as a fan, now looking at it, I wanted to say, I was afraid of other GMs. Remember, I was like, what competent GM is going to come in here, understanding that they have to deal with that, the collective. That's what I'm looking at from this standpoint, because I'm like, oh, so you mean to tell me all we really needed was a GM that was really willing to stand on business, but do it respectfully. And you know what, Lou? I'm going to give him a little bit credit, too. After that Brian Flores debacle and how all that madness ensued, I think it was more of a smart choice for him to take that route that he took, because you don't want to be combative right after dealing with that kind of situation. So I'm not even going to kill him for doing that, taking that approach. But what I am saying now as a fan, I'm like, maybe there is hope if, they want to tear it all down, that we could get a competent GM, if Chris Greer doesn't pan out. Now, let me put this out there first. I don't think Chris Greer has been a terrible job. Has been doing a terrible job, like a lot of people like to put out there in the Dolphins universe. I don't think he's been doing such a bad job. My biggest issue, I told everyone this, and I still stand on this, is that once he signed, which is I was under the impression it was him. Once you gave Tua that extension, oh, your timer started there. Dang, I had a timer. I wish I had it right now. Your timer started right then and there. And I'm like, as the GM, right, even especially now with all the way he's handled it now, as a GM, that could have been one of the times that I want you to put your foot down and say, with all due respect, I think this final decision should have been mine. You know, and I would have appreciated that. So now that we all got 2020 hindsight, so you know it's easy for me to come out and say, well, you should have been doing that. But I'm gonna keep it fair. Like I said, with how the Brian Flores thing happened, I'm not mad at him from handling it the way the way he did. What I am saying is, now that I know that you have the cachet to say, no, I'm going to take over things from here on out, maybe, and let me give him a little bit more credit. Let me give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe Stephen Ross didn't trust him enough to let him take over 100% of the reins or give him full autonomy, right? Maybe he didn't. Maybe he had to see that his buddies, Brandon Shure, Tom Garfinkel, they're not football guys. They don't have the accolades to be able to make those decisions. So you lean more toward the football guy. Maybe he had to see that. Experience is the best teacher. So maybe he had to experience them messing up, them making foolish decisions, and them going opposite of what Brian Flores said. And then Brian Flores ended up being right. And say, well, you know what? I can't be blind to results. This is a result-based business, and the results would have been different if we would have went his way and took his route. So yeah, now I'm gonna trust you a lot more. To me, that was music to my ears because I'm like, okay, so now bring in the competent GMs. Now they know hey, listen, it's a reason that you hiring a new GM. There's a reason that let's say we tearing it down, if we tear it all the way down to the studs. How about this time? You bring me in, trust me to do my job, and trust the process.
Well, Tone, the comments, the people in the comments, specifically Mike Bass and Powerhouse TJ. I think Powerhouse TJ is the one that actually asked the question. If someone had to be fired this year, right, and the owner, Stephen Ross, had to pick, who do you think it would be? Would it be Chris Greer,
Mike McDaniel,
in your opinion, or Mike McDaniel?
Mike McDaniel, hands down.
I agree. I
remember before the season, I was like, Chris Greer got to go Mike McDaniel. They like now watching how everything played out.
Mike McDaniel. It would
Mike
be
McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel.
Yes, he wanted to give us capital for Calais Campbell. You said no. He wanted us. He was opposed to giving to an extension. You said yes. Those are two major. That's not small. Draft capital and not being handcuffed to a quarterback for these years and being in cap purgatory. Well, I ain't gonna say we in cap hell right now. Not purgatory. We can get out of it, right? Those are two major decisions. You can't overlook that, especially when the other party was on the right side of the argument. I'm sorry. That's a no. This year is a no-brainer to me. Now add that to the fact that the rumors are out that these people, you losing the locker room, my brother. The rumors are out that these people, they don't respond to you anymore, my brother. We can't hide that. You cannot ignore that. So I'm sorry. If it came down to one or the other, Mike McDaniel, sorry, you out. Especially the fact that it don't seem like you're a leader of men. And that's the main job of a head coach. You have to be a leader of men, bro. Without being a leader of men, how can you coach someone? They're not going to follow you. They have to believe in your vision, and then they'll follow you.
That's a fact. I agree. And let's not forget that Mike McDaniel went behind Greer's back to give Tua that big contract.
That's what I said. I bought the Tua contract, and I bought up the Calais Campbell.
Yeah, that's a fact.
two
That's a fact.
major decisions that they was on the opposite side of the argument, and they went Mike McDaniel's way.
Mm.
I'm sorry, my brother. It is a result-based business, and we got 2020 hindsight. You were wrong. Chris Greer looked like he was right. So sorry, but what Powerhouse said? He say, "I agree, and let's not." Oh, you was reading his. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I was reading it because I guess he must have heard you, or he just put that in the comment. But that
Okay,
again,
yeah,
yeah, Mike
yeah. So
McDaniel vouched for Tua.
yeah, so this
So
is what I'm saying. So when you pose the question that way, yeah, it's Mike McDaniel, and it's not even to me. It's not even a question, especially when you, like I said, you add on the fact that the players are not responding to you anymore. They're questioning your leadership skills. You can't. That's the worst. The worst thing that can happen to a head coach is losing that locker room. You can have people that's not as talented. You can have people that's always injured, but you can't have people that do not believe in you and don't respect you. It's a recipe for a recipe for disaster, and we can't have that in this locker room. They say, hold on, what Mike Best said. But since they went Mike McDaniel way, Tony does that show the owner trust Mike McDaniel more? May have, but after the results, who you would trust now? That's the real question. Even if they did trust Mike McDaniel more, I was told, and Lewis can attest to this. I told them back what it was 2 years ago, Lou, or a year ago. I say, man, no. The offseason before last season when they was fighting with Tua to get the contract, I told them, I say, Lewis, I'm hearing that they trust Mike McDaniel. This is why they have a hard stance on not paying Tua. I'm telling you. This before we knew about them going back and forth with the contract. This is about before we knew what was the holdup. I was like, I'm hearing this, these numbers, right? Kind of find out, Mike McDaniel had to be the one to go be the deciding factor. So now, if you trust it, can you imagine trusting someone like that? And then think about this. He trusted that man's word. You want the final say so. Week 2, our biggest concern happens week 2. On prime time at that. Man, there's no excuse for that. There shouldn't even be a comeback for that. You shouldn't be able to recover from that. They gave him an opportunity. Kudos to them. But nah, that trust, whoo, that goes out the window. That's the biggest contract in franchise history. You can't mess that one up. It's the biggest contract in franchise history given to the most important position to any franchise. That's a double whammy. You know what they say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It'll be all on Chris Ross. Chris Ross. I'm thinking about Chris Greer and Steven Ross. It'll be all on Steven Ross for the way that this team pans out now. That collective bull job, the way that he let the coaches go behind his back, the locker room, everything falls on Tom Godfrey and Brandon Shore. Everything falls on Steven Ross because you see how the things could go when you let that collective run wild, and then you see, well, you are going to get an opportunity to see how things go with letting Chris Greer take the reins, and he have full autonomy for real this time. Autonomy. Hey, Lewis, a question for you. Give or take, I ain't gonna give you a how long do you think they get Chris Greer to get this right? Because I don't know if all things fail this year. Do you think he got until after next year? Like, you think next year would be like, man, okay, next year you have to. That's gonna be now you on the hot seat.
Well, again, I know it's not a popular opinion. For me, right? I'm answering for myself. He gets his opportunity to get it right until he fails.
Okay.
Bro, he's not failing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's not failing. His job, again, I think people have a misconception of what being a general manager is. A general manager's job is to collect the most talent that is available to create a roster. He's done that. For the last 3 years, Chris Greer has put a talented roster. I'm just going for the Mike McDaniel era. Bro, who's had a more talented roster than Miami Dolphins? Now we can say, "Oh my God, the offensive line unit is terrible." Okay, cool. What about the offensive weapons? Are they terrible?
Nope.
What about the defensive weapons? Are they terrible? Because again, another misnomer is weapons is only on the offensive side of the ball. I thought having a guy like Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard, ain't they weapons?
Yeah.
How about having a guy that gets you 10.5 sacks for the last 2 seasons in Zach Silo? Is that a weapon defensively?
Yes, sir.
So again, bro, he's done his job. Tone, for me, until Chris Greer drops a pass, fumbles a ball, or throws interceptions, misses tackles, it's not on him. I could see if Chris Greer was bringing in trash and those guys are missing tackles and those guys are throwing interceptions. All right, cool. I get it. Right? Bro, Jalen Ramsey's missing tackles. Jalen Ramsey is getting beat. You know what Jalen Ramsey is in the near future? A Hall of Famer. I seen Tyreek Hill. Tony, you bring it up all the time. In every big game last season, Tyreek Hill dropped a touchdown pass.
That's a fact.
You know what Tyreek Hill is in the near future? A Hall of Famer. So is Chris Greer's fault that Tyreek Hill's dropping passes?
No, sir. That's Tyreek Hill's fault.
Is it Chris Greer's fault that Jalen Ramsey is getting dusted by backup running backs from the Buffalo Bills?
No. That's Jalen Ramsey's fault.
You see what I'm saying? But that's what everybody wants you to blame, Tone. They want to blame Chris Greer because those guys are messing up.
Yeah. And one thing we can't do is let them blame Chris Greer for the thing that's out of his control. Chris Greer is not on the field. He's not on the field. So, don't get it misconstrued. Like, this is no way, shape, form, fashion us saying Chris Greer is to blame for the failures of these players. No, that's not what we're doing. We're not even going to start doing that, Lou. You hear me? But what we are saying is, at least from my standpoint, is I think Chris Greer need to take more control of him making a final decision when it comes down to personnel decisions. Let me put these guys that I want on the field, and then you judge me based on that. And then what I would like to see, right? And this is why, because think about this now, right? Remember when me and you went that back and forth, and we had a heated debate, and I'm like, well, Lewis, he's the one re-signing these dudes. He's the one extending these dudes, right? You think about it. He ain't want to sign the one that we think is the main reason that we're not successful, which is Tua. You know what I'm saying? You bring this argument up a lot. If you get another quarterback, i.e. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, so forth, or even Matthew Stafford, we at least win a playoff game. So from that standpoint, like, well, if he want to sign him, then he had the right mindset and the right idea. He just didn't execute. So from that standpoint, it's like, yeah, now let me see how you handle everything going forward. Are you going to execute? Starting this year? Oh, Ramsey, you a little disgruntled? Or you want to get up out of here? All right, let's see post-June. Post-June first. Let's see how he handled it. Next season, I think Tyreek is not he's not guaranteed any more money. All right, Chris Greer, let's see how you handle that. 2027, which I know you said next season, you have an out on tour. Chris Greer, let's see how you handle that. Because that's when I start putting, okay, I know they failing on the field. That's out of your hands. But don't keep them in the building.
And again, that's fine. But that's what I'm saying, man. I don't understand. It's comments like this. I think Greer's job is to build a winning team. Forget about everything else that says. How is Chris Greer? So let me get this right. And I'm going to leave the comment up there for a minute. Tone, I'm going to ask you. When we played Kansas City in Germany, What was Chris Greer supposed to do to win that game?
Not have
what could he have done?
Mike Best, a winning team. What did he fail at? Because I don't think he could have done nothing. But go ahead.
But no.
Did nothing.
When we lose, it's Chris Greer's fault. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go. Let's go game by game. Week 18 at home. Injuries on both sides of the ball, Tone. You were there. They played Buffalo to 14-14. They lost the game 21-14. We all know they lost on a special teams play. What could have Chris Greer done to win that game? I just want to know.
Context T4W just said it. Chris Greer got a block.
There you go. You see what I'm saying? Like, what is Chris Greer supposed to do? Bro, bringing in Jalen Ramsey, Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb, that's creating a winning team. Those guys, guess what? You know what? See, this is the problem, Tone. So when it doesn't work out in Miami, that's Chris Greer's fault. Why did the Rams bring in Jalen Ramsey?
Why did they?
Why did? Because remember, Jalen Ramsey won the Super Bowl with the Rams.
To get over the hump, yeah.
To get over the hump. So that means they were trying to create a winning team over there, right?
Yes, sir. Winning coach. Yes, sir.
So because they won the Super Bowl, that general manager had something to do with that. He did the exact same thing Chris Greer did. All the general manager did with the Rams is bring in Jalen Ramsey. The same things that Chris Greer did. Now, it's funny how now over there, the players like Matthew Stafford, hey, Tone, you know what's crazy? Matthew Stafford didn't fold in none of those playoff runs, did he, though?
No, sir.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Sir. Did you see that video they brought out? How he did that with the game on the line in the Super Bowl, the no look down across the middle to Cooper Kupp.
Now, there you go. See, we blame Chris Greer for bringing in Jalen Ramsey, but we give the general manager and the Rams credit for bringing him in. What did they do different? Nothing.
Nothing.
That general manager didn't win that general manager over there in the Rams didn't win the Super Bowl. Those players did. The execution. Tony just told you in the Super Bowl when Matthew Stafford had to make a throw, even if he wasn't looking, he made that throw. Now, when Tua needs to make a throw, what happens? Tua don't make that throw. That's Chris Greer's problem?
Crypto got a point, though. I ain't gonna lie. The general manager did change quarterbacks, and that was the difference. The quarterback was the difference. Crypto.
Again, you know what? Never mind. Yeah, there's no arguing with people like that. That's a stupid ass comment.
No, that was the difference. Switching out Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford.
Again, that's fine. So,
because Goff would have never got that job done, is what he's saying. Listen, the same way I said because Mike Best asked a question.
Fire Chris Greer.
Why do we don't fire Chris Greer? What we said, see, he had the right idea. Don't pay to him. So now you need to start implementing. Listen, I'm not trying to pay to him. Stop letting people convince you. Stop letting Mike McDaniel go over your head and go behind your back and talk to Stephen Ross. And I'm talking about strictly moving forward. Back then, we already know what happened. Stop letting and you make the final decision. Because if we would have went with Chris Greer's decision, we would have had a different quarterback behind center. And he could have made a change this year. We wouldn't have to deal with Tua this year. So, yeah, I hope he start making those decisions and be like, nah, the players that we got. Because at the end of the day, one thing I won't say is that he's not allowed to make a mistake. Okay, Tua was a bad pick. But he's not the only one that made a terrible pick. The Chargers, they took Ryan Leaf second overall. Oh, whatever he went. I know it's a debate. I don't remember he went second overall. But they took Ryan Leaf. They were debating who was the better quarterback, Ryan Leaf or Peyton Manning. That was a debate that the GM was having. And the Chargers decided to go with Ryan Leaf. So I get it. He don't have to be perfect. But what I would like for him to see, right, is, hey, man, I made a mistake. All right, let's get him out the building. Because that's what I prefer as my GM. I'll be like, listen, long as he, you know how you say, long as he's doing his job, Lou, I'll be willing to give him all the leeway as long as I see him getting his job. And like, I don't want to be perfect. And I don't expect us to win a Super Bowl every year. But I do expect you to do everything that you can, right? Everything that you can to build a winning roster and build a roster that can compete for the Super Bowl. And we'll be, I think, if let me speak for myself, I'll be way more satisfied if I saw him when Tua contract came up. Nah, we ain't re-signing him. The same thing he did with Christian Wilkins. Nah, we ain't gonna bring you back.
So what about not restructuring him this season?
I'm giving him credit for that.
All right, cool.
That's what I'm saying.
Let me ask you this. So for the people again that is Chris Greer. He's the only one.
No. Oh, well, you talk about them.
Well, not you, Tone.
Yeah.
But these people, these people, they blame Chris Greer for everything in the world. All right, cool. Give me the general manager y'all would like to have. Who is it?
You know they're gonna say Howie Roseman.
All right, cool. Howie Roseman. Now, this is where it's the recency bias. They won the Super Bowl this year. You know, last year they were 10-0, Tone.
Talk about
They were 10-0. They lost 6 straight games and got waxed here in Tampa Bay wild card weekend. What happened to Howie Roseman?
Yeah. And
was he a bad general manager? Now, I just want you to know, Tone, they had a Hall of Fame center in Jason Kelsey. They had the best O-line in football. They had Devontae Smith. They had A.J. Brown. They had Jalen Hurts. Everybody was there except Saquon Barkley. They lost 6 straight games and got waxed wild card weekend. Was Howie Roseman a bad general manager in those 6 games?
Not in a long shot. Not by a long shot. No.
Okay, cool. But why not? The team didn't win. You see how that works, Tone? You see how that works?
Makes sense.
All right, cool. Let me ask you this, Tone. I got another one for you. Is week 15 closer to the end of the season or the beginning of the season?
End of the season, clearly.
All right, cool. 2 years ago, the Miami Dolphins, our everybody in the chat, everybody's Miami Dolphins, were playing for the number 1 overall seed, not in the division, Tone. In the conference. The number 1 overall seed in week 15. Now, Tone, I just want to know, because everybody, according to everybody, all these great general managers we have in the chat, I see them all, right? I just want to know, in 2023, 2 years ago, you know what they were telling me? This roster wasn't good enough to compete. Now, what I want to know is, how does a team, week 15, play for the number 1 overall seed in the AFC if there's not a good team, if they're not built right?
The math not mathing right there, Lou.
Oh, okay, cool. But I just be talking, right? I just be up here tolerated. No, I'm tired of talking to dumbasses. That's why, Tone, that's why my mouth gets me in trouble. But these people are idiots, bro. Like, what are we doing here?
When you're right, you're right. I'll tell you that. When you're right, you're right. And that's a good, you remember in the last show, that's a good, I gave that as a measuring stick. I'm like, yo, how far off do you think this team is from that 2023 season? That team there, because let's not forget exactly what Lewis just said. We were in the week 15 fighting for the number 1 overall seed. I'm sorry. You cannot tell me that the players that they brought in are not talented enough to get the job done. That's why I agree with Crypto. You know how the Rams got over the hump? They changed the quarterback. They did bring in Odell Beckham later in towards the end of the season, right? They did bring in Ramsey, right? But remember, Ramsey got cooked in that Super Bowl. Let's not forget that. He got cooked. Their game was on the line. They needed a touchdown scoring drive.
And Jamar Chase ran right by him.
Facts. Game was on the line. They needed, you talk about Jalen Ramsey. Right, ran right back.
In the Super Bowl.
Yeah, in the Super Bowl. So they did make more acquisitions than the quarterback. But the difference in that Super Bowl was when the game was on the line, Matthew Stafford came through. Matthew Stafford came through. That was the biggest difference. And he only had Cooper Kupp. Everyone knew he was going to Cooper Kupp because Odell Beckham was injured. And long as you get open, I'm going to put the ball in the place to where you can catch the ball. Clutch. Same thing I said. Now, I don't even know if Matthew Stafford had the most darting numbers, right? But guess what? He was clutch. He was clutch. You see? Thank you, I am. I literally just said, I don't even think he had the most darting numbers, right? But he was clutch. And the thing that I said, I don't care about your numbers. Never been a numbers guy. But are you clutch? Do you have that clutch gene? That is what makes champions. You have to have, you could be the talented. Listen, I'm going to be real. We were just talking about, we had a big debate on the Spaces on X a couple of days ago about Justin Herbert and Tua. And I literally brought up, listen, to Tua's credit, he's not blessed, physically talented like Justin Herbert is. He wasn't gifted that. He's shorter, doesn't have the strongest arm, not the fastest, the most mobile. No one would say he's the most. He's like he's a mobile quarterback. No. But he used what he got to get the job done. Justin Herbert, on the other hand, he has everything. He's height, arm strength, and he's tough. Play through injuries all the time. All he needed to do was be clutch. And I'm not saying, he has a lot of comeback wins in the fourth quarter. So see, to me, I hate when, I ain't gonna say I hate, but to me, I don't call that clutch. Because if you don't have those fourth quarter comebacks when the game means the most, then how can I say you clutch? The people that we call clutch, right? It's when they do it in the big time games, in the moments that is needed the most, in playoffs and championship games. Because no one talks about how many times Jordan missed game-winning shots. He missed over half of the game-winning shot that he made. But we only remember the ones that he made because they was on the biggest stage in the biggest game, when the moments mattered the most. One of the most iconic play is him, whether it's a push-off, sorry, Crypto, whether it's a push-off or just a nice crossover, but game-winning. Call game. In the finals. This is what I call clutch. That is a clutch game. I mean, a clutch gene. Not, oh man, yeah, he had game-winning shots. I'm sorry. So that's my definition of being clutch. So when people give me, oh man, he had these comebacks wins. You know what? He was also up, 28 points in a playoff game. Where was that clutch gene then? How can I label you clutch when you had a 28-point lead, and all you had to do is one more. You could have scored one more dang on point. Yeah, I probably would have won that. A field goal. A field goal. It don't make sense to me. That's what I call clutch. Because those are the plays that we remember. I guarantee you, when Matthew Stafford go into the Hall of Fame, no one is going to talk about him missing who that was. The receiver was wide open. He missed him in the game to go to the Super Bowl. He missed him. Oh, no. Was it the AFC Championship game? The NFC Championship game. No one is going to talk about it. I forgot who he missed. They going to remember how clutch he was in that Super Bowl, though. Because it was a bigger stage. No one talks about that fumble that Jalen Hurts had 2 Super Bowls ago. No one. They're going to be talking about how his performance in this Super Bowl forever. That's what they're going to be remembered for. We're gonna forget that he failed in the biggest moment because he came through. You're gonna forget about that. All we talk about when they needed him most, he came through. He had a terrible postseason, but in the biggest game, he came through. Now, before last season, he wasn't in no one top 5 quarterback list. Now you can't make a list without putting him in the top 5. That is a clutch gene when it matters the most. So if my quarterback cannot deliver those type of clutch moments when it matters the most, but miss me with it, it don't mean nothing to me. It doesn't. I don't need it. I don't need it in the regular season. Well, it's good to have it in the regular season, but I need it in the playoffs and Super Bowl when it matters the most. And that's all I'm saying. But listen, man, we already an hour in, 8:35. I know we said, listen, first of all,
it's
we
not
got
even
40.
Real quick, Tone. Real quick. It's not
ahead.
even. I get it in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. You're right.
Yeah.
But just so we can prove our point to the people in the chat, you remember that Jet game this season? Not the one we lost, the one we won.
To go to overtime.
No one talks how bad the offense was in that game.
That is a fact.
Nobody talks about it. You know why?
Great point.
Because on that last drive, Tone, guess what that offense and Tua was?
Clutch.
Yep. Guess what that offense and Tua was in overtime?
Clutch.
Does anybody care about how bad the offense was or how bad Tua was during the game?
Don't even talk about it.
Don't even talk about it. We just talk about what a great win and how clutch Tua and the offense was at the end of the game. That's what Tony's talking about.
That is a fact.
We don't care about 350 yards and 3 touchdowns and completion percentage of 74%. None of that shit matters if you're losing the game. Like you did in Green Bay when he had over 300 and his completion percentage was at 71%. But the game was 27-3. You see how none of that shit matters?
These are facts.
That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Tom, we can get up out of here. But I wanted to prove that point to everybody in the chat. Because again, what you're saying, they'll lose sight of it. Because they always say, well, everybody always criticizes Tua for everything he does. And y'all don't, no. I don't care that he played a bad game against the Jets. You know why? Because my quarterback, when I needed him the most, he delivered.
These are facts.
And that's what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, that is facts.
But when he folds like a drum and he doesn't show up, then what do you want me to do? Blame everybody else? You want me to blame the general manager?
Can't do it. Hey, Lewis, to your point, no one talks about that defense on week 1 when Tua had that shootout with the Chargers. No one talked about how terrible that defense played.
No one talked about it.
Exactly. All they would talk about is how Tua outdoed Justin Herbert. Herbert, right? Shout out to y'all. Listen, man, it's still 41 of y'all in the building. Listen, subscribe, hit that subscription button. Road to 600. We are doing another giveaway at 1,000. We already did 2 giveaways. Oh, I think we have a giveaway in the chat. We'll figure that out. We'll let y'all know how that go by the next episode. But I do see the Blitz Pickup versus the chat for merch. Who wins the East? Lou, who you think basketball, you want to answer that real quick? Who you think win the East? Knicks or the Pacers?
Yeah, because there's so many Miami Heat fans that I interact with. I'm going to say go blue and orange. Go Knicks. Knicks in 6.
Yeah, I'm taking the Knicks too. So I see the boogeyman taking the Pacers in 5. I'll take the Knicks. I hate the Knicks, but I'll just
the boogeyman is dead wrong.
All right, so listen, man. Listen, Lou doing double duty. Listen, if y'all haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, man. It's y'all first time here. Hit that subscribe button. Help get us to 1,000. I'll roll to 600. Please get us to 600 first, and then we can get that giveaway out. Listen, I keep saying 1,000, but I'm telling y'all, if we get to 750 in the regular season, I am doing another giveaway. Actually, we already doing another giveaway right now for the Blitz Pickup versus the chat. So y'all put that the chat is locked in with the Pacers. Good. The chat is locked in with the Pacers. Fact. So so we naturally taking the Knicks. Okay, cool. So My fiance is a Knicks fan, so go Knicks. Well,
Hey,
Game
hey,
Boy, you 305. Shout out to your fiance, but you part of the chat, my boy. You got the
hey,
patience.
Game Boy 305. You just make sure you and the rest of the Miami Heat fans keep Tyler Hero away from the Knicks.
No, take him with you.
No, we don't need
Jazz, I
Tyler
got you,
Hero at
man.
the Knicks.
Jazz, man, what's your size, man? If you in Carolina, we got you. We got you. And tell me what color you want. What color shirt in the size? I got you. I ain't gonna leave you hanging. Game Boy 305, you are Indiana Pacers. You part of the chat, my brother. You are part of the chat. So yeah, listen, y'all make sure if y'all didn't hit the subscribe button, come hit that subscribe button. Y'all see how we got it. The energy is over here. It's different over here, and we don't run from no smoke. We don't run from any topics, and we give y'all a complete 100% honesty. And guess what? We still got the best chat on YouTube, hands down. They with all the smoke. they with all the smoke. But yeah, listen, y'all come join us on TLTG. We are going right now. They just went live. We will be over there. Lewis pulling double time. So I think he's I'm sorry. Let's switch. The Rabbit Dolphin will be on TLTG. We on the way over there.
Facts.
Lou, you want to get us up out of here?
Hey, shout out to everybody. Sorry I had to call y'all dumbasses and idiots. I don't mean it. And we'll see y'all back here Friday, 7:30-ish. I know we started early today. It won't be like that on Friday. We'll be late as usual. And hey, go over there to TFTG. Is going down, man. Shout out to y'all. We love y'all. Peace out with the bang, 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 bang.
We out.